Maybe this is a bad idea as a photographer to leave gear places, but I'm shooting at certain venues. I will leave heavier lenses and another kit in a room for the reception. Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
You should not do that in most places in the world.
Terrible
Leave
idea.
camera bags and stuff like unattended.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Tim, welcome
Cheers,
back.
buddy.
Oh my gosh, it's so
welcome
nice
back
to be
to
here.
you in the
land of-
flesh. Lindsay Coulter's back at the studio on King for another episode of the Shoot Your Shot podcast.
I should be wearing a lower cut shirt. You guys should see the tan I have right now.
If you're on YouTube, you can check that out. Lindsay, will you pass me the magic 8-ball that we've neglected to roll for the not last episode, but the last couple of episodes. If you're new here, we roll the magic 8-ball. Everyone needs a higher power.
This is ours.
This is ours. It doesn't always work. But just like us, we also don't always work. Lindsay, you have a question for this bad boy?
Absolutely.
Badass ball?
Oh, you know what, Tim? I have not, and it's really weird because we're late into January at this point. I have yet to make a vision board. A friend of mine said, Lindsay, what's your plan for 2025? And I was like, oh, it's too early to say. It's really too early to call yet.
Are you sure? We're a month in.
No, so that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I've done this for years.
Yeah.
I take February 1st as my New Year's.
Okay. Oh, nice.
I need January to process. Like,
what just happened? Yep.
Yeah, like I need to process some things. I'm just like getting over, Christmas and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if today is the day that I am feeling inspired to make my vision board for 2025.
And we're looking and we're tapping and we're touching. And what goes in your vision board? How are you going to start if you do have to concentrate and ask again? So tell me what you want to go put into this thing.
Do I think that today is the day I'll find inspiration to make my 2025 vision board? I'm concentrating.
Still concentrating.
I'm asking.
Outlook, not so good. So it's not today. You
Okay.
still have groundhog.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm
Groundhog
pretty
Day.
sure that the 8-ball is wrong today, but that's okay. It's been wrong before. It will be wrong again.
It saw its shadow. It's going back into another 6 months.
If I finish it today, Tim, I will send it to you in time for you to pop it into this so that
Perfect.
everybody can see my inspo for the year.
If you're seeing it now, it's here.
I usually
it.
make a Canva, like I have a Canva template from the previous year.
Okay.
That is one that's the full size of my MacBook, like screen, whatever.
Sure.
So it's a background for my computer.
Yeah.
And then one that's like an iPhone backdrop. Oh, actually, I still have last year's on here.
Let's take a look.
So I feel like I've maybe shown people this before. Maybe I haven't. It's a little bright, actually, but that's fine. I'd leave it as my backdrop as a way of manifesting. So anyways, that's my question for the year. Let's do a quick intro. Hi, everybody. My name is Lindsay Coulter, and this is Timothy Musa.
Hello.
And this is the Shoot Your Shot podcast. We're a community-driven photography podcast. We take questions from our community. We try to have our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the photography and wedding industry world.
We also host guests sometimes.
We also host guests. We try to bring people in that we think are going to bring some joy, some levity, some fun into the discussions around photography business so that we are talking about business. Primarily, that's our goal, to talk about how to run a photography business that's fun and successful and sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the Shoot Your Shot podcast.
That's it, dude.
That's what we do. If
you're here for it,
if
we're
you're
happy.
new here,
Yeah.
welcome. Sometimes we talk about gear against our better judgment. Those episodes always get 3 times the views, which is really sad for us and sad for the world, but consumerism is important. Also, this episode is not sponsored by Nikon, but it could be. And today,
Wouldn't be mad about it.
today we have a question.
Yes. Back to basics, back to our roots of what this show started out being. It's a call and answer show. So you ask a question, we answer as best as we can on the internet. This one is from John. John at High Orbit Media. Thanks, John.
John, thank you so much for writing in. We're going to get into it. So, hey, Lindsay and Tim, I'm a wedding photographer in the Monterey, Carmel, California area. No need to brag, John. I love Carmel. I found you through Taylor's YouTube. We don't know him. And I've been listening for about 6 months now. Have you guys ever done an episode on injuries you've sustained because of your job? Not like falling and bashing your knee, but like tendonitis or other injuries from holding a heavy camera setup for so long. I'm in my early 40s and would be interested in hearing how you guys deal with the physical pains of doing this job and what you do to stay in photographer shape. Thanks. John at High Orbit Media.
Thanks, John.
That's such a really great question.
Yeah.
I really love it so much.
Do you want to talk about any injuries you sustained? I know you said not specifically like falling or bashing your knee, but I'm just curious, have you broken
Falling
anything
or
like
bashing
sprained
my knee.
anything? Have you like hurt yourself in a way that was unique on a wedding day?
So more so, and I think this is probably more common, is I've done more so the tendonitis, like that,
Okay.
like the repetitive strain
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
I did years ago, maybe 2 nights before a wedding, fall down a set of stairs and break my middle finger, which, as you know, we know when you're holding a camera,
The grippy finger.
That's the camera, that's the finger.
It's the fulcrum.
Like, yeah, my right hand's middle finger, that's what holds all the
Ugh.
weight of your camera. And yeah, I didn't have time to get it repaired because I would have had to go
It looks fine.
undergo surgery.
It looks
There's
great.
like arthritis in it. It's
Do you
terrible.
see it? Do you see? It looks straight to me.
Yeah, it hurts pretty much all the time.
I'm sorry.
So that one wasn't super fun. I shot a wedding like a couple of days later. And it's a
Wow.
really good answer when people are like, what would you do if something ever happened to you before a wedding?
Fucking go for it.
And I'm like, I would just go. I would
Yeah.
just be there. But this is a really great question because, you know, the best thing is wedding photographers are aging, Tim.
We're getting
not all
older.
22 anymore.
No.
The industry used to just be filled with petit bébés, us
Petit
included,
bébés.
you know? Our bodies were just doing the thing because we existed as 25-year-olds and that's
Just
what
running
happened.
on caffeine and like 2 almonds. Full
Literally,
wedding day.
just
Yeah.
barely.
Yeah.
You know, we were just raw dogging Red Bull on an empty stomach.
I've hurt myself, and I know this wasn't one of your questions, John. You wanted to know like sustained injuries, more so like just holding gear and stuff. But I hurt myself in a destination wedding in Iceland where I slipped on a rock and I was able to hold the 2 cameras out from my sides, and I fell and I landed on my cell phone in my pocket.
yeah.
It left a giant bruise on my leg for a long time. And I don't remember the 5 seconds I was out. I was picked up by a friend.
That's crazy.
And it was fine.
I just spilled so much coffee on myself.
I switched away from you. You have to see it.
Like hearing me laughing, I have decided to take the lid off my coffee
Oh,
cup, and I
yeah.
just literally dumped it
Just
all
living
down.
wild and free.
Thank
Good for
God
you.
I am wearing really all dark. It's in my hair. It's everywhere. Anyways,
Could have been worse.
I can't believe you were out cold.
I don't remember a good amount of it. Like I came really close to hitting a rock.
You
Side
were
of my
there with
head.
medical professionals,
I
weren't
was.
you? Yeah, so that's
an
really
EMT,
helpful.
if someone who drives the emergency
Paramedic.
vehicle. Paramedic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, and Jen was a doctor.
I was going to say, I was
yeah.
like, and I think the bride was a doctor.
Was a doctor, yeah.
So
that was
that's
fine.
helpful.
It was great. Cameras weren't broken. I wasn't broken. Ego a bit shattered, but we carried on and DC.
That's just crazy. Yeah. So
Good footwear is important. But I made a list of things to think about to avoid injuries as a wedding photographer. Some before the day, a few on the day, and some post.
yeah.
So I'm going to run through them.
Yeah. So let's talk about first of all, let's maybe talk about the importance of this topic
Yeah,
in general, right?
sure.
Because last year this is so strange actually. Last year I posted on Threads. One of like the first things I posted on Threads was who else is like going to multiple appointments every week just to like stay fine, you know? And I thought this was going to get like a lot of people being like, oh yeah, I'm in all kinds of appointments, because at one point last year I was seeing a physiotherapist. I was seeing a chiropractor multiple times a week, which I think was a scam. I saw a massage therapist. I was going to like regular therapy for my ticker, my brain. That's the ticker.
Ticker's
Anyways,
here.
for the brain.
The old computer's up here.
For the computer, for the central nervous computer.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, wow, I'm like really doing the most just to be like mid, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm not operating at like a really elite level here. And I was curious to see if any other photographers felt like they were doing that. And one of the things I heard back from people was, no, Lindsay, we're American, which I
Oh,
thought was
we
like,
can't
ooh,
afford it.
sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I was paying everything out of pocket. It's not like,
Yeah.
you know,
Not all of it was covered by your insurance.
no,
through
like I have
VIA.
insurance.
No.
I think it covers up to like $1,000 a year for
Yeah.
massage.
That's 2 appointments right there. That's 1 week.
Yeah, it's like
gone.
it's not really a whole lot. And then physio, I mean, those are like $80 appointments. I
Yeah.
digress, but really all that to say, I felt like I was doing so much. And then our friend Liam Good either messaged me or commented back and said, I feel like I do a lot less maintenance in that way now that I'm working out more. Now that I'm going to the gym
Yes.
and like lifting heavy weights.
Yes.
And I feel like I always work out. Like I always have like some level of physical
Fitness on the
activity
go.
in my life.
Yep.
But last summer, so actually we'll go back to like, this is how I was telling you that I ended up with like tendinitis. This probably happened to a ton of people. Well, I know it did because I speak to my physiotherapist about it in the past. But in 2020, most of us went from being incredibly physically active. Like our job is very physically demanding.
Totally.
You know, I'm chasing after children. We're standing up, bending down. We're not wearing like workout shoes. You know, we're not wearing like good clothes for this, you know.
Can we talk about that? Because I feel like a lot of photographers these days, and younger crowd, if you're out there, you'll see and
They're
hear
wearing
this.
sneakers.
They're wearing sneakers. They're wearing
Yeah.
yoga pants. They're wearing like
Yoga pants is
athleisure
criminal.
wear.
No, that's not allowed.
I'm not sure that's appropriate for a wedding day. I know
suffer.
that
Okay, suffer like the rest of us. You wear shitty shoes and you wear shitty pants and you suffer. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that.
No, but you should put an effort in to look good.
Mm-hmm.
I think New Balance on a wedding day is a crime.
It's not my personal move, but I think, you know,
Beach attire at a wedding is a crime.
there's a lid for every pot, and perhaps there's a wedding scenario where that works. I don't know.
It's a medium flavored take.
You're right. What I will say is that, you know, we went from being very, very active in 2019, right?
Yep.
The winter before COVID hit, we were in Hawaii. I scaled a freaking mountain. Like I was doing the most. And I remember my vision for 2020 was like, I'm going to really challenge myself physically.
Yeah.
Because the previous year I was like doing personal training. I was in boot camps multiple times a week. Like I was really going for it. And I was like, 2020, I'm going to go hard.
Yeah.
And I was turning 30 in 2020. So I was going to run every single day.
90s,
And I
baby.
was.
Yep.
I was running like a crazy person. I was running 5 to 10K every single day, which like you're not supposed to do.
No.
Like with no breaks. It's insane. And then March came around and we all know what happened. And we all became, well, I speak for myself, I became a couch potato.
Yeah.
I thankfully had a treadmill in our apartment and
yeah.
I was like walking a lot and I was
Yep.
still trying to run, but I was depressed. I was sad and I had no reason to live. So
It also doesn't help that it came at a time when, like right now, I was
It's
talking
so
to you before the
depressive
podcast.
here.
It's so depressive given that the sun sets at like 5:00 p.m. and
Yes.
it rises at like 8:00. There's such a short window for light. I just want to sleep all day. It's very
Yeah.
hibernation season.
Yeah.
I was saying to Lindsay before the podcast started, like I feel like this year more than ever, maybe it's just my age, but I feel like I want to hibernate all the time.
yeah, it's
The
sleepy
past couple
time at
weeks,
the,
it's
at the
sleepy
home.
time. It's do nothing sleepy time. Right? It's the what is it? No weddings, I sleep now. What did you call that season of life?
I don't, just hibernation station. I don't know. No weddings, I sleep now.
I think
no sleep November, like no sleep November.
No, it was weddings are done, I sleep, I die now or something. Like there was some phrase you
I don't know. I like that one.
comment
But
at us.
it's
Let
funny.
us know. Yeah. But you were mentioned just sitting on the couch. You mentioned having a treadmill. It was a very strange time.
I went from like this really physical extreme to nothing. And then, you know, the sun started coming out. We started coming out of hibernation. There was a period of time in the summer where one of the many, 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 many lockdowns was lifted partially. And I was
Yeah.
able to go to an outdoor boot camp that my friend was running. I go to the outdoor boot camp and I'm like, shit, I can do this. So I'm doing box jumps. Okay. Like I'm an idiot. I decide to do
Day
some-
one box jumps.
Day one. Why wouldn't I do box jumps? I do
I do a
box
box.
jumps.
I can jump. I got knees that work. See
Totally
what happens.
fine. I go, this was probably illegal, so don't call the police, but I went to my friend's house after this for a glass of wine on her patio.
Okay.
And I go to stand up from her patio and I literally tipped over.
Oh no.
I had no strength in my hip. The pain in my hip was unbelievable. I literally fell over and I couldn't stand. And I was like, oh, this is not good.
It's a new one.
I went home. I like iced it. I tried whatever I could. I woke up the next day and my left hip had completely seized up. This was also during a time when you couldn't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
It was really impossible to get into anybody. So I went, there's like a sports medicine clinic in our area that I have been a patient before. So I contacted them and I was like, can somebody do a virtual Zoom with me? I do a virtual Zoom with like their lead physiotherapist. She was like, you have obviously like deeply inflamed either your lower back or your hip in some
Yeah.
way. She said, we're seeing this across the board because people have gone from being sedentary to doing the shit they used to do.
Immediately. Because there's nothing else to do. Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Yeah.
And so then from 2020 until about last summer, I have been trying to rehab this situation.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my mom worked in kinesiology.
Right. At
So
university.
I got
Yep.
to speak with this amazing doctor. Actually, I feel like we should preface this with, if you're a photographer, if you're really a human being with a back, but if you're a photographer specifically, look up BackFit Pro. The Dr. Stu McGill is like the most genius person when it comes to back spine health.
Okay.
And I was able to do a call with him. He did an assessment. He was like, this hip injury that you think is a hip is actually your lower back.
Your back. Yeah.
And so many injuries that people see in their 30s. It was so funny. I'm like, you're 30, here's back problems.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what
Yeah.
everybody always jokes about, right? You want to turn 30, you get
Here's your passport.
spine
It's spine
problems.
problems. Yeah.
He sort of coached me through like how to sit and better posture and how to walk better.
Mm-hmm.
He has a really great book called Back Mechanic. And it's taken me literally years to like retrain my body to stand up straight.
Wow.
I say all of this to say, if you're a younger photographer who has not rocked themselves yet,
Good for you.
I love that for you, but it is so much easier to prevent injury through, like our friend Liam said, through stability and core training and exercise
Yes.
than it is to rehab after.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. So we're going to go through like things that Tim and I do that we think are like fun and
Yeah.
photography related. We are not medical professionals.
No.
I actually do have my yoga certification, which is a thing
You're on
that
your way.
when I first started out as a photographer, I was already teaching yoga like full time. That
Yeah.
was like one of my many things. And I was going to do a yoga for photographers because I was like, why are so many of you in such terrible shape?
Yeah.
Now I'm like there, you know what I mean? But
Well, it's just age, right? That's going to happen. And I think back to echo what you just said, what's the adage? A pinch of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So let's get
probably.
into the,
So let's talk about
the
some things that
pound-
we can do
the
to
pinch of
not
prevention. Yeah.
to not get tendonitis and other injuries from holding your heavy camera.
So since I was starting out as a photographer, and even probably before then, I would sit on my couch with my camera that I just got with nowhere to go, nothing to shoot because I was new. I'm like, I bought a thing from Best Buy. Great. Let's do
Play.
nothing.
Look
Let's
at
take
settings.
photos. Let's take photos of the TV I'm watching. And so I would sit. This is a bad example because this is a Lego camera here. But I would sit on the couch in front of the TV when I was young, or like, you know, just hanging out, like even at like eating dinner. I'd just sit there with the camera and I would play with it, and I would you know, touch all the settings. I would wind dials. I would just have it in my hand, and just adjusting it and playing with it. And that's something I do to this day. Like a fidget spinner, I sit on the couch with Kelly, my partner, and our dog, and I just take photos of the TV. I'll adjust settings. I'll try different things. I'll play with the flash. I'll futz around with it. You know, I had that kind of
Yeah.
fidget spinny
Yeah.
tendencies fulfilled by that. And I feel like the constant moving of your fingers around a camera that you're using professionally in a like relaxed setting just builds the muscles and builds the muscle memory.
Yeah.
And it makes handling a camera on a wedding day that much easier. I'm not just like,
Yeah. I
The
agree.
training
I think
wheels are
there's a
off.
really good mind-body connection there, right?
there is.
Like one of the things that I noticed, I mean, when I was teaching yoga specifically, was that the people that would come to me a lot of people that would come to me as
Yeah.
I was a private yoga instructor.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So they would hire me because they had done
you go to
something.
houses and stuff? Or? Oh, cool.
Houses and offices. But a lot of the people I worked with had injured themselves in some way.
Yeah.
And it was because they were not consciously connecting their brain to their body.
Yeah.
And so they would go and do something like lifting up a grandchild
Yeah.
or picking up a really heavy camera bag
Mm-hmm.
without consciously thinking of it. And you shouldn't have to consciously think of it. The goal is that it becomes such second nature for you in the way that you hold your camera and
Yes.
the safe way that you're holding your camera,
Yeah.
that when your brain is turned off and is thinking about other things, that you're still able to do that. I do find that like the dexterity part of holding a camera, a lot of that comes down to finding a camera that's like ergonomically right for you.
Yeah.
Let me just say,
Please.
when I first held the R6 in my hands,
Yes.
the very first thing I said to Taylor was, well, this will never work for my hands because I have nails. Somebody never thought
Right.
about that
The
the
grip.
hand grip, that
Yeah.
it was very shallow.
Yeah.
And I think I said this on the episode when we were talking about Nikon, but how much deeper the hand grip is, which is really great if
They've
you
always
do
been
have,
deep. Like,
have
been great.
nails.
Yeah.
But I find I can just get a better grip on it.
Yeah.
And even though the system that I have now is heavier, I actually think it feels better in my hand
Yeah.
and just feels more right. And that's just, everybody needs to find the thing that fits them properly.
That's why I switched to the R3. Like I shoot on that because it's a big boy camera, and
it's insane.
I don't have, I have piano fingers probably at some point, but they're not massive bear claws, as Lindsay's pointed out in this podcast before. But they're big enough to be like, I want to have something, substantial in my hand.
Did I say you had small hands?
Yeah, we compared last time, and you're like,
well, because
made fun of my
he
hands.
said he had huge hands, and I was like, I'm confused.
No, you don't, bud.
You have firmly mid-level range hands.
Listen, they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah, no, he has they're fine.
Okay,
like he has hands that are proportionate to being 6 foot tall. Like whatever. You're not LeBron.
Listen,
okay?
I'm not LeBron. I'm not palming basketballs. But back to your point about the hand-body connection. This is something that came up to me outside of the wedding world.
Okay.
I shot a documentary that never turned out to be anything because sometimes they don't. In 2022 about wine, and specifically wine made in Canada.
Oh yeah, you were doing a doc about local wineries. It was incredible.
Yeah. And we went to this winery called Batchelder Estates. Thomas Batchelder, he studied in Bordeaux, I believe. I'll have to check the footage. But he was this incredibly crazy wine guy. He called his space the Batch Cave.
I love that.
Because he's very punny. But really interesting character. His whole interview was very stream of consciousness, word vomit kind of thing. Like he just ranted off
like what
the
we
whole
do.
time, just sampling wine. We're all sitting down. We're like, we're too drunk for this. But it was fun. And he kept coming back to us being young adults. The three of us in the room
You're young,
producing
right?
this documentary. He's like, you're young. And one thing he said to me that he looked me
Was
in
he
the
old?
eyes. He was in his 50s, I'd say.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not that
He's
old.
one of these
But
guys that, thinks he's
like
old.
a wine 50s. So he's a bit
An elder.
leathered.
Oh.
But he was
Valid.
also probably losing his mind for all the wine. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But he said to me, looked me in the eyes, he's like, you're young. You need to work on your core strength because you don't want to be getting in and out of cars, heaving yourself up and doing that effort thing where you get off a chair, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Struggle.
When you're older, you want to focus on your core strength. Do it now while you're young. When you get up off the couch, when you get out of a car, just focus on getting up on your own core strength using your legs and your core to stabilize yourself and get up in a way that strengthens you little by little every day. And I thought about that, even though it didn't make it into any cut from the documentary. I just think that's one of the most interesting things a very strange drunk winemaker said to me.
It's very
and
specific.
It stuck with me. And every time I get up off the couch, every time I get out of a car, every time I'm getting up off the ground after playing with a dog, I'll try and utilize and keep that core strength centered and just moving slowly and intentionally without stabilizing myself with my hands.
Which I do think if you do yoga or you do a regular strength training workout or whatever, that will just probably become more natural to you over time, just because you are already in tune with your body for an hour a day. Then the rest of the time you're more connected to your core and to your center. And again, I'm going to go back to the book, The Back Mechanic, and to Stu McGill's teaching, because it's I think it's just really helpful for everybody that has a body. So most of us, I think that what we need to remember here as photographers is that this is not just a passive task that we're doing. You are carrying so much equipment all of the time.
Yes.
But the times when we're most likely to injure ourselves is not when we're standing there with a camera.
No.
It's when you're bending down to pick things up.
Bingo.
It's when you're squatting down or you crouch down or whatever. And I try to not do a whole lot of that. It's not really my MO. I'm not laying on the ground to take a picture. But it is a fairly physical thing. And most of the times when we're at the most risk for injuring ourselves is probably literally, my guess would be when you finally get a chance to sit down for dinner and then somebody goes up to say a speech and you go and run. And
With
at the same time as you go to stand up, you're trying to reach to twist to grab a camera. That's 10 pounds, if not more.
Bingo.
You're going to grab something, you're twisting weird, and you're going to be like, oh, that didn't feel really swell.
Yes.
So to go back to your crazy drunk man, I feel like
he's the thing. He's not
an alcoholic.
He also
He
makes
just
really good
owns a
wine.
winery.
If you can cellar some of the 2020 stuff from his estate, do it. I have 4 bottles of 2020 Batchelder because they're so fucking good.
love that.
Yeah.
I want to come over and have that. But it was a good year. I heard that. But I think for whom winemakers.
Yes. And wine drinkers. But
learning how to stand and learning how to walk in a way that feels stable is this is so funny. This is such a This Is 30 conversation we're having right now. Yes. I agree.
It's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's important. And that just that stability, that again, it comes down to the mind-body connection.
Yeah.
But you have to practice that outside of the times when your brain is occupied.
Bingo.
Because your brain is going to be thinking about going and catching that person doing an impromptu speech.
And you're not going to be thinking about how you should be standing.
You're not going to be thinking about my spine health. You're going to
no.
be thinking about your spine health next week.
Bingo.
When you've rocked it on Saturday
You have to go to
night.
the chiropractor and 2 other appointments during that week.
Literally, I just don't have that kind of money
benefits already
anymore,
done
man.
up.
This is so much. I was spending so much money.
Yeah. I lift weights every other day for 10 minutes. It's not a lot. It's something.
It's probably not enough, Tim.
It's not enough, but it's something right now.
Of course, I think that 10 minutes a day is better than no minutes a day.
That's
of
how I
course,
feel.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and I shouldn't have said that. That's not enough, Tim. I feel like
I could do more.
at this time of year,
Yeah.
when life is pretty easy breezy, when we have time, this is the time when we should be setting a good groundwork.
Can I fight that a bit? Because I used to do 40 minute bike sessions in the basement.
Yeah.
On my trainer bike, and I would do that during the winter months, and then I would
Yeah.
fall off come the summer and spring, and I don't do
Right.
those anymore. So
Right.
having something that's bite-sized, attainable, I can do it when I wake up,
And you can do
It's
it year
10
round.
minutes. It's year round. That is more sustainable to me than like going hard for 30. and
No,
then
I
falling
totally
off when I
agree
don't
with
have the
you.
Time. So for right now, it's good. I think if you're doing anything, any kind of activity that's strength-based training, it's a good move to keep yourself.
I know. And you know what's so funny? Like, I mean, we were both raised by, what are
Diet
they
culture?
called? Almond moms.
Oh, yeah.
I love my mother more than anything in the world. So, like, you'll never catch me saying a bad word about her. But she was a victim of diet culture in the 90s, where we were basically taught,
Canadian living.
you have to do more cardio. My
Yeah.
mom also was like working in kinesiology. So she wasn't the typical person that was like, just go to the gym and do like half an hour of cardio and you're good. No, like she brought me to the YMCA when I was like 7 or 8 years old with her, just to like show me her strength training workouts that she did, which I would think was so helpful. She worked out every single day at lunch. Every single day she worked out at lunch.
amazing.
But the thing that I took away from it, which was my own victimization of the diet culture of the 90s, was it's better to be skinny than strong. Right?
Yeah.
Like it was better to be skinny than strong. So I was just
Yeah.
doing like
Kate Moss heroin chic. Yeah.
literally so sad. That's
Yeah.
so sad, especially because most people's bodies don't function like that.
No.
And they're not really actually optimal at all when you're
No.
doing that. But I was doing like elliptical and
Yeah.
running and all this shit. And then you're still trying to figure out why your knees hurt. I was
Yeah.
like 22 years old. Why do my knees hurt?
Well, let's talk about that
because we weren't doing any strength training. So
No.
I do think 10 minutes of strength training
Thanks, bud.
every other day is still better than you truthfully, than you being on the bike for 40 minutes. It's probably healthier.
Can we talk about running?
Yeah, let's talk about
And
running.
the alternative to that, Kelly bought a rebounder. It lives in the basement.
What's a rebounder?
It's a trampoline, a small trampoline.
Shut up.
So I'm going to talk to you some of the stats I learned about rebounding.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
And it's pretty phenomenal. So if you are a jogger, this is a great alternative. If you don't want to be outside,
This is so
it's
fun. Mm.
also really good for your knees because it's lower impact. Some of the stats I found online that I'm obsessed with. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, found rebound exercise to be 68% more efficient than running, as it expends less energy and places less stress on the cardiovascular system and joints.
Don't we want stress on the cardiovascular system?
You want good stress. You don't want undue stress. You want
Okay.
stress that's regenerative and helps
Okay.
you, not
Yeah.
not stress that
Slow
takes
build.
away.
Okay.
Jumping on a trampoline stimulates the lymphatic system, which can increase lymph flow by up to 15 times.
Yeah.
So this, if you don't know, the lymphatic system is a body-wide system. There's lymph nodes. Those are basically like little filters that filter out toxins. It is responsible for flushing out toxins. It's responsible for transporting
Like Red
white
Bull?
blood cells and nutrients and proteins to different muscles and organs in the body. So
Kelly got this?
Kelly got this.
I'm coming over.
Yeah, come over. It's in the basement.
wanna bounce.
The clearance is like this. So it's like
So you
I have
can't
to bounce.
use it.
I have to bounce very specifically between two.
Put it upstairs, dude. You have high ceilings upstairs.
Where's it gonna go upstairs? It's
in front of the TV, bounce.
I should bring it up.
That'd be
honestly.
fun.
We don't use the dining room.
Yeah. It would be fun.
I love it.
Like, it's just a
great.
tiny
I've used it
trampoline?
twice and I'm like, this is the best thing. Yeah, it's a trampoline. Yeah.
So, but you can just put it up against the wall.
This is very true.
Oh my gosh.
So a 30-minute rebounding session can burn 200 to 300 calories depending on your intensity and body size.
You're kidding me
So
right
you can
now.
like do.
Are there exercises or you just bounce?
I just bounce,
Because I
dude.
really I like the idea of just bouncing.
Bounce. So it studies have shown it can help
feel like my
reduce
mom has
body
one of
fat,
these.
improve muscle tone. It improves proprioception, so body awareness again, and reduces the risk of osteoporosis by stimulating osteoblastic activity. So it rebuilds bone cells, building
What?
cells. Yeah.
Which is really important for women specifically because we
Very
are
important.
so susceptible to
Yes.
osteoporosis.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
literally doctors. Shoot
So-
your shot with us. We're the doctors. Dr.
you-
Tim, Dr. Lindsay.
If you have a kid,
You just
and they
said
have a trampoline,
proprioception.
I know.
That's
If you have a
crazy.
kid and they have a trampoline or something, or you know someone with a trampoline, go bounce on that thing for like 30 minutes and just feel great. Yeah.
And
Aside from
honestly,
that,
it
like,
would bring you so much joy.
It raises serotonin, like dopamine
Yes.
levels, everything goes up.
That's why, okay, so actually, let's talk. This is fun. I like this. I like this. Let's talk about this for a second.
Finally, we're having fun.
Let's talk about this for a second because the thing that I think, I mean, photographers, creatives as a whole, what we human beings reject gym type workouts
Yes.
because it is so freaking boring.
Yes.
Our attention span is so nil
Yes.
that is just not fun
That's
for
why there's
me.
TVs in front of every fucking treadmill.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I do find fun is activity that is like
All encompassingly stimulating.
An activity.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why I love to hike.
Yes.
It's always something different. You're like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's a mountain. Oh, it's a river. Like you're working your ass off. You're burning literally thousands of calories, but you're like having the most fun
this?
time. A
Yeah.
river.
Yeah.
That's why I like yoga because I think it's fun. I go to one instructor and she and I are laughing the entire time. She said to me a year ago, she was like, I love it when you're in my class because I look over and you're always smiling. And I'm like trying to stifle back a laugh some of the times because I just think how funny it is that we're adults and we're just doing we're playing. We're
Yeah.
just doing these playful things.
Yeah. You're
Especially
making shadow puppets without the light.
yeah, especially
Your full
in
body's
in
just
classes when you're doing balance poses.
Yeah.
Or, I love doing tree or dancers pose or things that are just fun and they just
Yeah.
bring me so much joy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. Taylor and I were just talking about this. He was like, I wish I had a thing like that because he has done snowboarding.
Yeah.
Activities that are fun and enjoyable. I mean, our ski season here, unfortunately, rest in peace to winter, is not very good.
This week's pretty good, I imagine.
This
but it's
week is pretty good.
fucking cold.
It's
It's
way
like
too
minus
cold.
30 degrees Celsius. No,
But
thank you.
I think that it's for us, it's about trying to find the thing that is fun. So bouncing on a trampoline,
Yeah.
that's a blast, right?
It's a hoot.
Find the thing. That's why I think people liked Wii Fit.
Yes.
That's why people like tennis. They
Yes.
find an activity that feels social or whatever it is. If you're an introvert, maybe not that, but
Yeah.
find an activity that gets you excited to do it and gets you looking forward to do it. I've been doing yoga almost every day for about a month now.
Yeah.
And when I don't do it, I'm genuinely bummed.
You're
When we
depressed.
were in Mexico last week, I went and found a class that
Yeah.
I could do because I was
I need to keep
I
this
was
going.
missing it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like torture. It doesn't feel like a punishment,
No.
right? Whereas I think walking on a treadmill
Yeah.
or whatever, sometimes it feels like this is what they made me do when I was getting in trouble,
Yeah.
in gym class. They'd be like, go run a lap.
Well, let's
you
talk
know?
about gym class because one of the most fun times I've had as an adult in the last 10 years was when I was part of a league for adults of volleyball. And
Yeah.
I'm not great at volleyball.
Yeah.
But I love smack talking in a way that's really fun, to my own
Yes.
team. And just the idea of being a part of a system that's governed by rules. And then you have to hit the ball in a certain way and 3 times and then over. And I
Fun.
loved the activity of doing that and sweating in a
Should
good
we
way.
join a league?
Fuck, dude.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would love to join an adult league.
I wouldn't be good at it, but I would
No,
do
you
it.
suck, but it's great. You make friends that you don't have to keep outside of that group. You're
Yeah.
we're friends, but
It's my
only here.
volleyball people.
This
Don't
is-
talk to me.
I'm not going for beers after. Fuck you. But sorry if you're watching this and you're part of the new league, but I just don't have time. But it's nice to have that window, that
Yeah.
little space to just play and be an adult and not have to worry about the outcome so much. Just worry about the activity of doing.
Yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
the encouragement here is not about the amount of time or the minutes or whatever. I'm not your
Yes.
doctor. I don't
Nah,
really
we
give a
don't
shit
know.
what you do. But I think that for us, the encouragement would be to find something that's fun and enjoyable, that's physical outside of your job. Because, we do spend a lot of time in nature. We are constantly walking. We are outside with our clients. But it's just not the same
Nope.
as getting outside and doing things for yourself or maybe not outside, whatever, getting your body moving
Yeah.
in a way that is fun. Actually, I'm going to make a quick little aside here.
This is a podcast for us.
Literally, and I digress. Camera bags. Can we talk about camera bags for a second here? You want
talk
to talk
about it.
about physical injury prevention.
So I'll tell you what I do every time I'm standing somewhere for more than 5 minutes with a camera bag. I put my camera bag down. Because holding it and having it offset, like I use camera straps most of the time.
Yes.
Which is somewhat balancing the cameras between. They're at the ready.
Yeah.
You know, the hold fast style, quick draw.
They
camera
do.
Straps.
They do a good job for your posture.
They
pull
do.
your shoulders back a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
and like they keep you standing upright.
A little bit.
Yeah. But the camera
having
bag
a camera
is
bag on
crazy.
top of that, either side, just weighs down too much. So
You also have a shoulder bag,
that's what I'm saying.
a single side.
So when I'm anywhere for more than 5 minutes, I put it down in the place, usually by a door, where I
Yeah.
can grab it quickly
You
if I
must.
need to. That's one of the things I do on a wedding day, just because I know that that's going to kill me.
Will you ever get rid of the one-sided shoulder bag?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. Why? Do you have an alternative? Backpack.
So
I don't
when
want-
I was a kid, when I was a child,
Okay.
that was, I'm trying to think, I was probably 8.
Okay.
And I was carrying a one-sided. Do you remember when that was cool? Like the
Yeah.
Gap days?
Yeah.
It was the Gap.
Yeah,
They came out with a one-sided crossbody
Did
like
you one
book bag.
But even when you had like a JanSport, did you one strap or
One
you
strap,
two strap?
of course.
But that's the same thing,
yeah.
isn't it? Okay.
No.
Okay.
A one strap is not nearly as bad as a single crossbody. It
Okay.
was so bad.
Like all the
and I
books,
would carry my
science
textbooks.
books.
I would
Oh,
carry
yeah.
everything in there.
Yep.
And my parents brought me to the doctor because I was in pain, and they were like, "What kind of book bag does she have?" Like, it's just so funny, like that
Yeah.
we didn't put this together. They were like, "What kind of book bag does she carry walking to and from school?" And they were like, "Oh, it's a side bag." So then
Woof.
I get into the wedding industry. I don't want to have a Dora the
What did the
Explorer
doctors say?
backpack.
No good.
Oh yeah, no. They were like, you have to get rid of that. So then
Okay.
I went back to a backpack, like
Okay.
a loser.
You still one strapped it though, so same
You know
thing.
what I switched to though? No, I switched to this it was like a jelly backpack. Like it was
Ooh,
clear.
I know
It was
those. Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
It was like a bubble bag, so
Yeah.
you could see everything in it. It's really cool. It was bright orange.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because as photographers, aesthetics are obviously a huge part of our job. We would be lying if we said that they weren't important.
Yeah.
And not just our own client's aesthetic, but ours.
Yeah.
And how we look is a direct representation of how people think of us. That's
Absolutely.
just humanity in
People
a whole.
judge, they want to.
One of my cousin's wedding photographers, this was before
Okay.
I was a wedding photographer. One of my cousin's wedding photographers showed up in pleather pants and a t-shirt and high boots, like in the hottest day of the summer.
People leave with their eyes first.
I
They're
was
going
just
to judge you based on
confused.
that.
And
Yeah.
literally, I did not care what those photos looked like. I knew that they would be bad because this girl had poor judgment. I did. I just was like, well, she's showing poor judgment. So if we show up dressed in a weird way,
Yes.
then people will assume that we have bad judgment and we
Yeah.
have bad taste.
Yep.
So I am so jealous of your side bag every time I see it because it looks so much better. So Tim, and we talked about this on the gear episode.
Yeah.
I am currently in search of a better backpack. Actually, you know what? Today I'm going to do 2 things.
Okay.
One of the things I'm going to do is a vision board. The
Number
other
one.
thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to a bunch of camera bag brands and I'm going to see if we can do some reviews.
That'd be great.
Because I feel like this is a thing that keeps on coming up.
Line them up right here.
We need to do a review on backpacks that look good
Yes.
and are functional.
Yes.
Because it is so much better ergonomically to balance the weight on both of your shoulders.
Yep.
Our spines are not angular.
No.
Our spines are straight.
Slowly though, they're becoming shrimp body, but
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want
No.
to become a shrimp. I want to stay tall. Actually, this is so weird, Tim. Did you
Go
know
for
that
it.
over time, if you're not doing good back health things, that your spine will actually
Compact?
compress over
Yeah.
time?
Yeah.
So if you've ever noticed, your grandparents are shorter than they used to be, it's literally because our the discs,
Yes.
our vertebrae.
Yes.
There's the stuff in between our discs. What's wrong with my brain right now?
Glue.
It's not glue, but anyways, our discs start to compress. Okay.
Yeah, that glue starts to
Why am I
dissipate.
not? Anyways,
Spinal
it's fine.
fluid? Who knows?
It's not spinal fluid. Over time,
Yes.
gravity obviously be doing its thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's important for us to be constantly doing cat cow, bend and stretch
Fighting
and
back
bend
against
and stretch.
gravity. Yeah.
And really intentionally making ourselves. So if you're wearing a side bag that's constantly squishing your
Oh,
spine,
absolutely it is.
this is not good.
Lindsay, it's an Ona bag. It's really nice. It's a really nice bag.
A nice bag. I know. So I do understand why you're constantly picking it up and putting it down, but it could not be worse for your obliques and your spine. So actually your obliques on one side are doing great work.
So maybe this is a bad idea as a photographer to leave gear places, but I'm shooting at certain venues. I will leave heavier lenses and another kit in a room for the reception and just be like, I don't need that right now. So I carry less on me.
We are just fortunate that the places we shoot generally are
safe.
Very nice.
Don't do that. That's a bad idea.
You should not do that in most
terrible.
Places in the world.
Terrible
Leave
idea.
camera bags and stuff like unattended.
So I do feel like I carry less most days, which is better for my back.
So let's talk about that. Maybe a minimal kit is a thing that we talk about here.
Yeah.
John, high orbit.
John.
Let's go back to John. I think that, he says a heavy camera setup. There's only so much that we can do in order to avoid a heavy camera. Like if the 70-200 on your R5 is the move, then you got to do it.
You know,
like
I don't own one.
If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I personally will do whatever I can to have the most minimal setup. So even in choosing whether I was going to go with an f1.2 versus an f1.8 for my lenses, I went with 1.8 because for my work and for my style, it's currently good for me. And my clients will have zero idea of if there actually is a sacrifice to be had, whether in my mind, there's that half second of, I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to take that photo because I'm so tired and my body is so
heavy.
rocked
Yeah.
because of the difference in my glass versus, I still got energy and I can go, so there's a trade-off between, okay, so maybe you're sacrificing a slightly more
aesthetically pleasing image
that has a shallower depth of field.
Sure.
That's nice. Or you're sacrificing
never getting the photo,
not getting it at all, and just not having the energy to continue on doing your absolute best work throughout the entire day.
Bingo.
Right?
Fucking
So for me, I would prioritize having a lighter gear setup and making it work. I also think that makes you more creative as a person.
Yeah.
Like just working within some realm
boundaries.
Boundaries.
Having
exactly.
some fences along your
so
property.
You unfortunately have to carry way more gear than I do.
I do, yes.
Because of
just
video.
from a video perspective. But that being said, video gear has gotten so much lighter over the past 10 years, which has been great for my back, my spine.
I just started shooting with a video light. Tim, I have to show you the photos from last weekend.
I want to see it.
So our friend Lucas, Your Day by Lucas, we shot a wedding together in December, Tim, me, and Lucas. Lucas was doing video and he set up, what's it called? A Cobb 30 LED.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, crazy. I'm so bad at gear. I'm so stoked that I just remembered that by Small Rig. Actually, we'll link it. I'll pop a little link in here for you into the description of the show notes because this video light is so fun. Speaking of ways to make your camera setup lighter, I dropped off the light stand and the camera, the light stand and the video light for the reception in the reception space. And then during the reception, I didn't have to have a flash on the entire time.
It's so nice.
It was incredible. Yeah. So every time I'm jumping up to do speeches, I just had my camera body on. So it also makes like a beautiful hair light for dancing. Yeah. It was just like a gorgeous, really simple thing. And I think it was $100. $120 maybe on Amazon, Canadian.
Crazy.
So it's like $4 if you're American. It was so helpful. So actually, although I have rejected the idea of setting up a light for, 13 years of my career, I am fully convinced that this is my only issue with this is that it is not battery powered. So I think you and I are going to have to solve that because I had it running on a cable.
Not ideal.
And then the cable is running along the side. And our friend Jesse, the DJ, loaned me some gaff tape because I'm like, I'm not a video person. Why? I don't want this cable. It looks so bad. And
we'll get you a clamp that you can just attach to the light stand itself. With like a V-mount battery, you charge once a week.
That's what I need.
And it runs off that.
I need a battery pack. So I'm going to improve it.
We can have it lower so like it acts as like a weight, which is also helpful for safety.
Yeah, I'm going to need to improve it, but it is a nice system. And actually, I think it would be really nice because a flash on top of a camera, on top of a heavy lens, usually 70-200 for speeches. Yeah. That's a heavy scenario.
Even if you're doing like off-camera flash, it's just another aspect to put on top, right?
It's too
with a
much
little trigger.
for me.
Come on. No. Continuous light's great.
Continuous light is really nice.
You can set things up beforehand, make things easier. Like for me, when I'm going from I'll use the Elora Mill as an example because I like shooting videos there. I'm shooting videos most of the time this year and last year at that venue. And so I will show up on the day. You can see this on one of Taylor's videos. First thing I do is I set up a tripod and light stand and a light in the reception space.
Yeah.
That's done. So post ceremony, all I have to do is carry over the camera I'm going to use to record speeches for that. It's in my camera bag already. Everything's dialed in a way where it's like, what's the least resistance I can have to get from point A to point B to point C to point D, and that's the full day.
Yeah.
It's so much more convenient. Also, you bring like a little wagon with you, you know?
It's not bad. Your wagon is really nice.
Wagon's really nice to have, especially for heavy stuff like tripods and light stands. But you also have a rolly bag. You don't just rely on your Dora the Explorer backpack from Peak Design. You have a
I don't
rolly.
use it anymore, though.
You done with it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't use it anymore. I haven't used it for a while.
You used it... No, you used it last when
2009?
No. I've seen you rolling that thing around. You rolled that thing. Yeah, last year you were rolling that bitch around.
Literally, no, I haven't used it.
I've carried it for you, so I absolutely remember you bringing it with you.
A rolly bag?
Yeah, dude.
Tim, I don't own a rolly bag.
You have a rolly bag.
I got rid of it years ago. Marshall has it at the studio. What rolly bag?
I will find photos.
A wagon?
Not a wagon. It was a rolly bag you had.
I'm struggling.
No, you shouldn't be. It was last year. I will find photos. I'll post them.
I hope that you find them because,
so many photos for you with this
I need brain camp if that's the truth because I'm worried. I'm like, a rolly bag.
Yeah,
a rolly bag.
Yeah, dude.
So I don't own one of those. So that's crazy for me to think about that. But like I own like a Rimowa suitcase.
Nope.
I own.
It's a rolly. It's definitely a rolly.
The other thing that I have is so generally speaking, I separate my gear. I have gear in one bag, and then I have another bag that is a Monos white leather bag.
Yes.
That I carry
Shoulder
my laptop, hard drive, extra batteries, extra flash, and things to make me look aesthetically nice. So I have a hairbrush and I have makeup touch-ups in there for myself. That's what's in that bag, and that bag usually chills in my car until the reception. No, I'm pretty sure not, but that's okay.
I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, a rolly bag is really nice. I did switch to a rolly bag a few years into my business just because my shoulders were getting so rocked all the time.
Yeah.
And then I switched off of that to go to a Peak Design bag. But the camera bag is like half of the job in keeping your body healthy. We talked about like, you know, exercising and doing things that are fun to keep your body healthy and moving and doing strength training and all those things. But then the camera bag is like a huge portion. Huge portion of that. The other thing is a camera strap. So you use the dual strap harness system.
Certainly
and I just currently use 2 Peak Design straps, but my preference is 0 strap at all.
Can I ask? Because I feel like that's one of those moments where you're not thinking about. Because when I have the 2 straps on, I have complete and utter security and insurance, and knowing that these cameras, even if it was drop it from this height, they would just swing, hit nothing, hit my leg maybe, but they'd be fine. When I've done the 2 straps without the camera harness system,
thinking about it.
I'm thinking about it constantly. I'm always readjusting. I'm doing micro adjustments. And like I see you're always like pulling one up. I'm like, that looks so uncomfortable.
The only reason that I ever have 2 on is the ceremony. Okay. And then every other time I have no camera strap and just 1 camera.
I do that now too. I'll wear them just for the ceremony.
Yes.
Because it's nice to have a backup just in case one fails for those really cannot miss once in a lifetime moments. Would you consider wearing a strap for just the ceremony? Or is there like an aesthetic problem? Like we did reach out to strap companies like, hey, send us a cool one. What are you thinking?
Listen.
Can we get you on team dual strap cool guy? Just say no. It's fine.
No. What I was going to say is absolutely fucking not. And then I thought to myself, but then I rejected the idea of a video light because I thought that was dweeby, and now here I am liking the photos more, and perhaps I should sometimes try things that I initially thought was a no for me.
Okay.
So I will have to change my look up if I buy a harness system.
Yeah.
Because I think that it won't work with some of my outfits, but I'm willing to give it a shot, Tim.
Okay.
I'm willing to try it.
Is it a color thing? Is it the tactical look of it? I know you have
I think I don't want people talking about me during a ceremony.
Oh.
I don't want people.
What are you saying?
I don't. No, you look fine. You're a dude. People speak ill of women. There's a reason why I bring a hairbrush and I brush my hair out during ceremonies. Like before the ceremony, I'm brushing my hair. I'm like making sure that I look fine so that during a ceremony, when the bride and everybody's walking in, the only person they are thinking about is them.
Yeah.
And it's already a challenge because we move around during a ceremony.
True.
Right? So people pay attention to whatever is moving.
Yeah.
And if I am
cats.
literally, and if I am moving
Yeah.
and I'm wearing something that people have never seen before and it looks like a bondage system,
dude,
I don't want people to be like, why is that girl wearing a bondage strap?
why does she look like the woman from Fifth Element?
Yeah,
Here's a
why
question
does she
for
look
you.
like she's carrying guns?
You're wearing a jacket right now, right?
Yes, currently.
You can put the strap system underneath your jacket.
Yeah.
And so you don't even see the straps. They just kind of hang.
Okay, I'll
cameras
consider
hang
that.
down like this.
I
I've
thought
done
they'd
that for
have to be
years.
on my back. Okay.
No, dude. I've done that for years and it's way more it's less conspicuous.
Okay.
It's wonderful.
I'm willing to try it. I'm going
We'll
to say
find you a
that.
color that works.
No, I want leather.
We can get like a white leather. We can get like
No, oh my God. Who do you think I am? I'm going to
just
wear
say-
white sunglasses. Like, get me some Oakleys in here.
lives for New Year's Eve. No, we could do
like yours, what you have, I would wear.
Okay.
Like it's like a nice, like caramel.
yeah, it's bison leather. Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, see, that's the other thing.
You can also
I'm not really into
vegan
leather.
leathers. You can
Okay,
get-
we'll have to
there's
do a
every color
vegan
under the
leather.
sun. When I got this, it was 2010 as a birthday gift, and I didn't know what I was doing. I
Yeah.
was like, this looks cool. I should
It
do
does
that.
look cool.
That's when I was like in the gear acquisition phase
Yeah.
of my life and
Yeah.
career, starting out. But they've come a long way. Baby.
You know what? This is
What?
crazy timing. I'm going to imaging this week. So I can literally just walk around the trade show floor being like, who's got a good vegan leather thing and can I try it on?
And when you're fully baked in to the
Baked
to the strap system, you can be like magic
can't
and have
be one of
a
these
little
people,
tote
guys.
that sits on the back. So like
No.
it's strapped to the back, so you never has to. He doesn't carry a bag for the most part. He has like a little.
I know he has a
camera
fanny
pouch,
pack.
little camera
Yeah,
pouch on
it
his
works
back.
for him.
Just saying.
He wears parachute pants. You know, Magic
He
gets
does
away
wear
with
like
a
a
lot of
bowler
things.
hat.
His name is Magic. So
watches. He
you
listens.
can literally do anything you want, Magic.
We love
can-
you, Magic.
You can literally do anything you want. You also shoot really cool weddings. I
Yeah.
shoot weddings where like
Hey.
they're normal.
Yeah, true.
I just shoot normal.
Very
if I showed up
normcore.
with a fanny, actually, I have done a fanny pack.
Okay, a
I have
crossbody.
done like a crossbody or like a black Lululemon pouch.
Oh, yeah.
That just has like one lens in it. I'm down with that. I can clown around with that. That's okay.
Okay.
So this is a year of rebuilding for us on the how do we carry things in a way that
Yeah.
is aesthetically pleasing and functional. I'm down. Okay, we're gonna figure this one out. I like this.
Let's do it.
Tim, tell
Moving
me some
along.
more things.
Okay, so this is unique.
Also, sorry, you guys. Wow, what's wrong with
This
us?
is
Why do you
great.
guys listen to
Stop.
us?
Stop
You're
saying
right.
that. This
I'm sorry.
is a perfectly free and
We're
amazing
awesome.
podcast. This is unique to me, and maybe you can do it if you own a membership to a gym. I have a wood-burning sauna in my backyard.
sauna boy.
because I decided to spend a bunch of cash I got one year on a silly thing. and
Honestly, best
paid
investment
off.
for me because I didn't pay for it.
Well, come over anytime. And a cold plunge. So I use sauna and cold plunge most days. Not today because it's minus 30, and my cold plunge is like a brick of ice.
Yeah.
But this is great just for like muscle tension. It relieves inflammation for joints. So if you have like problems like arthritis or like issues with your joints, this helps like just to numb those inflammation points and make you.
Joe Rogan really likes it also. So
He's an asshole, though.
just joking. No,
So is Wim
I
Hof.
actually don't know
He's
anything
awesome.
about Joe Rogan. I love the sauna and cold plunge, and
Yeah.
I am not a cold plunge girly. You got me onto it when we were in
Scandinav.
No, you got me into it long before that.
Oh.
When we rented that crazy log cabin.
Index Washington,
In
where they
Index-
filmed Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, so we
Index Washington's so cool.
You know what? That's what I want. I'm just thinking about like, what do I want to do for like my birthday?
Dude.
I want to go to the Pacific Northwest.
Hell yeah.
It is so cool. But we rented this amazing log cabin.
Yeah.
It had a hot tub and it had a river in the back. And I'm talking, there was 2 feet of snow minimum. It was like still coming down.
Yeah.
We're in the hot tub and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm going to go for a dip in the river. And I
Yeah.
thought, this man is psychotic. And after seeing you do it a couple of times, I was like, I cannot be left behind. I have such bad FOMO. And
Yeah.
I did it and I felt high. I felt alive.
It's
and
nice.
then we did it a couple more times. That was probably the first time. And then, Scandinav Spa.
Yep.
If there's lots of like hydrotherapy places. So you don't even have to have a gym membership.
No,
a
no,
gym
no.
membership is helpful because if it does have a sauna and a cold plunge at your gym, then you can just do this more regularly.
If you have a shower, do your regular hot hot boy, hot girl shower for the first whatever minutes you do a shower for. Mine's like 5-7 minutes. And the last 45 seconds, turn it to the coldest temperature you can do.
Yeah.
And you'll get out, first of all, not feeling cold because the air temperature will be warmer than what you feel.
That's
for
true.
the last 45 seconds. And you'll feel like you just had 2 shots of espresso.
And
it's
even
the
if you start at
greatest
15, 20 seconds,
Sure.
you know, like start it out slow, because the other reason I think that's like really prohibitive for people is that in your mind, you're going to hold your breath and you're going to be like, this is terrible and I hate this.
The pain receptors that go off, the receptors that go off in your brain when you go into a cold space are the same that like extreme pain. Like it's your brain telling you, get the fuck out, you're going to die.
I am just realizing how funny
but
and
you're not going to die.
How
You'll be
funny
fine.
and witchy you and I are when it comes to our physical health. Like, I'm wondering if people knew this about us. Like, I'm wondering if people knew. Probably they could see it in. I don't know. Did you guys know that we're weird?
We're weird.
Tim is a huge sauna boy. The cold plunge that you have is so fun. Like we once he had to go out with an axe and crack off the ice,
yesterday.
and we were still like, yeah, we'll jump in that. That sounds normal.
Yesterday
I know, and
I
you
did
still
that.
do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna come over for a sauna soon, and then
over,
we just
dude.
sit by the fire.
Yes.
And you're soaking wet, and you're still somehow warm because you've just done a cold plunge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You really enjoy the winters a lot more. And this is very specific to people who live in a northern climate. But it's also good for your mental health. So I use that as a space to, I call it going to church. I
Yes.
get to unplug from things. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast and I'm unplugged. Like I'll just take the time to not be working, thinking about things that are outside of like, fuck, it's hot in this thing. Like that's mainly my thought is, oh my God, it's
Very
so
present.
fucking hot. Get me out of here. Oh my God, it's so cold. Get me out of here. And then I'm just like cleansed.
You're constantly putting yourself through trauma. And then you remind yourself that this is a trauma I chose.
A good way to think about it is you're creating the environment of being like sick. So when you're sick, your body temperature rises, right? To increase white blood cells.
Yeah.
To create a healthier environment for your body.
True.
You're doing that intentionally by being in a sauna. So
Yeah.
you're creating that elevated space of like, oh, I'm having a fever.
Interesting.
In a space that you're safe and you're not sick. So you're increasing your
true.
white blood cell count. And then when you get into the cold, you're shocking your cardiovascular system by all the blood vessels and muscles around your blood vessels condense. All the blood rushes to the core of your body to keep your body warm. And then once you jump out, the blood comes back out. So you're like giving your blood vessels and the muscles around them like a little bit of like a little workout. It's great, man.
There is also something to be said for doing things that suck.
Yes.
I'm like a really big fan of it. I talk to Taylor about this all the time because like he lives in a constant space of comfort, which I love for him. But I have always sort of felt like, I mean, I like camped as a kid.
Oh yeah.
I did stuff that kind of sucked a little bit, but then you get the reward at the end of it, right? And that's another reason I love to hike. I love the outdoors. I love to do a hot and cold plunge. To prove to yourself you can do something that you truly don't want to do, it gives you more mental strength, right? It gives you more mental, I think just strength. You feel like, okay, I can do this thing. I can do
Confidence,
things I can do things that are hard.
Yeah.
So then when something that's actually hard comes up in life, you're like, listen, that's not a big deal for me. This is a practiced thing for me. I do things that are hard for me all the time.
I swam in the river in Index, Washington. I'm fine.
This is fine.
In -5 degrees weather. It's fine.
You think you can hurt me?
Yeah.
I got out of a hot tub and into a freezing cold river that I had to break off with an axe.
I cut my hand on some ice in a cold plunge I willingly went into. Like, come on. It's fine.
Totally normal. So I do think that there is something to be said for that. And then I also think that it does actually translate into days that are hard, when you have clients that are challenging, when you have weather days that are challenging. Like we deal with extreme weather conditions too on wedding days, right? Like we're talking about like the potential for getting dehydrated, the potential for getting heat stroke.
Yeah.
It's so weird that it's -20 out right now and we're talking about heat stroke, but where we live, the climate is so extreme.
So variable.
So I think it's really important for us to remind our bodies that we can do these things, but also figure out what my body needs. Like part of the reason I love hot yoga is that I've had people tell me, oh, hot yoga is terrible. I did it one time and then I was sick for 5 days afterwards. And I was like, well, you probably sweat so much and then you didn't rehydrate.
Yeah.
You have to like be intentional about it. And you have to like take an electrolyte beforehand and then drink some water afterwards and you'll probably be completely fine.
My grandfather, who was in his 90s before he died at 95, he lived a long time. Full head of hair. I'm excited for that for me.
That's nice.
He would
even if you lost half of it, you'd still
my
have
mother
a
would
lot of
fight him when in his older age. He's like, I don't want to drink water because I have to go to the bathroom all the time.
Yeah,
she's like,
that's important.
you have to go to the bathroom because you're dehydrated. Your water's going through you. Think about a plant that you've neglected for a long time. The soil is dry. You put water in, it rushes right to the plate at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's not retaining any of that moisture. It's just running through like sand.
Yes.
The more you water it, the more it retains water.
Yes.
So the more you do things, the better they'll get. I
This
promise.
is literally a New Year, New Us
Dude,
episode.
you're
Who
welcome,
knew that
everybody.
we were doing a New Year's episode?
One more thing about the flip screens. We talked about it
Please.
earlier, but because most modern cameras these days have a flippy screen, a tilty flippy screen, you don't need to lay on the ground in glass on your stomach to get like a weird low angle shot of the full wedding party doing what they do. You can literally just put your camera like down and just like take the shot from a low angle, flipping the screen up. So be ergonomically smart with your gear. Same goes for like being up on a ladder. You don't need to stand on top of a tree bed or a bunch of rocks to get a high angle
People do
shot.
things, I
Fucking
think-
hold it up like this and look down at the screen and like position it
think
so it's convenient for you.
People do things, I think, so that they look like they're trying hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But actually, you look silly.
Yeah.
For the most part, you
For
do.
those
Like
moments,
you're like
people
dangling
respect-
out of a tree. They're
Yeah,
like,
no.
"Oh wow, your photographer is working so hard." Yeah,
Yeah, no.
you are, and then you literally can't do that again next weekend. So
because you're dead.
because you're
you
not
fell.
22 anymore. Okay.
So that's just utilize the technology we have available to us and like work smarter, not harder. That's obvious. And then
Yeah.
another one thing I do at wedding days, last one I can think of for this episode is it's less to do with physical, I guess external kind of health, but more
Yeah.
so internal in my brain. I wear loop earplugs.
Oh, yeah.
During the loud parts of the day. So dances, loud presentations,
Yeah.
things where I'm like, oh, this is a loud room. Cocktails. I'll slap those in. It reduces everything by like 20 decibels.
Yeah,
I can still
such a
hear
good point.
conversations like this, but it's not like I'm
Not
not
going
being
deaf.
fucking bombarded with all this sound. And I'm not neurodivergent. I probably am, but undiagnosed. And it just helps me think more. Like it just really helps me.
Yeah. I think neurodivergence is a spectrum.
Totally.
And
I'm totally on the spectrum. What am I saying?
Well, but I think everybody is neurodivergent
No, we
to
are.
some extent
Yeah.
now, to be honest.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I want to know what neurotypical looks like. That's what I personally want
What
to know.
is
Who's
normal?
neurotypical. So I think anybody can be overstimulated, especially
Totally.
after a 10-hour wedding, and then
Totally.
you're getting blasted by "Let's get it started," and you're like, Jesus.
Oof, that song came through a real renaissance, didn't it? Good grief.
Literally.
When that came out, that was
Do you
a
remember
different
the
word?
original word? Yeah, we were talking
Look
about
it
that
up.
the other day.
Look it up.
Don't look it up. I have two more things that I'm going to add to
Okay.
this that I think are important.
Last
One
two,
of
let's do
them
it.
is flexibility and stretching.
Yes. So look at your dog or your cat. When you go home and you're looking at pets, every 5 minutes, they're literally doing this.
Stretch.
They're stretching,
Yeah.
and then they're shaking. They're
Yes.
shaking their entire body. We can't do that. We look
Why
insane.
not? Oh, I do it all the time.
Every 5 minutes?
Not
time
every
you get up,
5
you just
minutes.
stretch
That's
like a full
crazy.
body, like
I stretch
downward dog.
constantly.
So you need to do that more.
Yeah.
Look after your pets and your cats and your dogs and follow them.
Yeah,
I'll let you
like
finish.
stretch out our shoulders, stretch out
Yes.
your back, do like some cat and cow
Yeah.
stretches, stretch out your quads. Do this on a wedding day also, because
Yes.
one of the other thing that's really bad, like so I developed plantar fasciitis after I did this lower back issue, because
Yep.
after I screwed up my lower back, and then my hip started hurting, then my knee started hurting, and then my foot started hurting. This is the pathway of pain that I
Head,
learned.
shoulders, knees, and toes.
So then I started developing pain in my feet because
Yeah.
I was walk, stand, which
Yeah.
is so bad for the body to do a walk. And then we're just standing on concrete for like
Oof.
an hour waiting for, ceremonies or speeches or whatever. So stretch during that time, like take some time to like stretch out your hamstrings, stretch out your quads. It's so important, but do that at the beginning of the day
At the
and
end
then
of the
also
day.
at the end of the day.
Bookend it.
Do it while your stuff is backing up.
Yes.
Like, and I'm talking 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it again brings back that proprioception, that
Hell yeah,
mind,
buddy.
the mind to body connection. Proprioception is if you close your eyes. For those of you who might not know what proprioception is,
Okay, close my
if you
eyes.
close your eyes
Closed.
and you take your left hand and you can touch your nose, it's your ability to know where your nose is.
Where your appendages and your body is in 3D space.
Yeah, where things are and how they connect to each other.
Yes.
That's my most layman's term that I understand of being proprioception.
Look at this.
And wow, you're crazy, Tim. Go off. He's just whacking his face for anybody who's not watching.
my
It's
eyes
quite
closed.
something. It's clearly early in the week in the winter wedding world. We're just losing our minds. So stretching is super important. And then the last
Super.
thing, we haven't talked about nutrition at all, Tim. And I know you and I joke about just drinking Red Bull all day and not actually eating anything.
No. Not sustainable.
I started working with a naturopath. I've always had like a naturopath, somebody that I worked with, but I feel like, again, being a product of the 90s, I probably had like some disordered eating habits
that food triangle is bullshit.
Yeah, that really came through. And
big egg, big milk.
I just, I would say last winter, I started thinking, what do I want to do to like, I'm not talking about be like physically like the most, skinny or fit or anything that I've ever been, but like have my
be your best self, right?
I was going to say like my anatomical age, is that, or biological age.
Yes.
Be lower.
Yes.
Be at least closer to my age.
Current age.
Apparently the ideal biological age is younger than we actually are.
That makes sense. Right? Don't you want that?
I think it's like it's like 0.8 or something. So, I mean, I'm definitely not there yet. But I started seeing a naturopath. She's phenomenal. Her name's Dr. Kate. She lives in our area. And she reminded me that I'm eating way too little of protein. Way too little of protein. So
being a pescatarian, that's common, right?
Yeah, I think so. But also just being not mindful about what we eat.
Fair.
Like tons of my friends that eat meat aren't eating the right amount of protein. You're supposed to be getting 1 to 1.2 grams per body pound of weight.
Definitely over that.
You think that you're
I eat a lot of
eating
meat.
200 grams of protein a day, Tim? I don't know how much you weigh. I'm just taking a guess at most men. You do not eat 200 grams of protein a day.
I eat a lot of chicken, a lot of meat, a lot of eggs.
I want to know if you know how much protein is in one chicken breast. Take a guess.
150 grams?
30.
Oh, fuck. I'm not eating enough.
Again, I come back to that women have always had health and diet culture rammed down our throats. So I could tell you the exact calories, carbs, and protein in most foods.
You can read me easily.
Really, really sad. But no,
here.
this is the thing. So I use an app to track it because most people have no idea, myself included. And when you're busy and you're working weddings and stuff, it doesn't have to be every single day that you're getting the exact amount. It can be an average over 7 days. So if on a Saturday you absolutely know for a fact that you're not going to be getting the right amount of protein, then throughout the week maybe you want to increase it, or you know that you're going to be maybe eating more calories, then you do it. So I use this app. It's actually a terrible name. It's called Lose It. I don't know why that's the name. It's diet culture wrapped up.
I guess
into
Gain It wouldn't be something people would want to download, though, right?
No, probably not. It's just a better version of MyFitnessPal. It's paid. I think there is probably a free version, but it's a really, really good thing to make sure that you're getting enough protein because injuries come from our muscles not having the right nutrients. Please tell me what you're about to say.
I forgot that I do a protein shake every morning. So
yes,
I'm getting them.
But a protein shake is 30 grams of protein if you do 2 scoops of protein.
Oh, it's like a cup like that. I should look into what it is.
I have
whey
the
protein.
same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So whey protein, 2 scoops of it is 30 grams.
Oh.
At a maximum.
Well, then I'm not getting enough protein.
If you're doing like a heavy protein shake, maybe it's 45 grams. Maybe it's 45.
So not enough.
Not enough by a long shot. Most of us are like heavily under-proteined.
Get your protein.
So figure out what that is for you. Figure out how that looks. Again, not a nutritionist, but one of the things that I think that we can do on wedding days is start off your day with like a really good healthy breakfast that has like fiber and protein and all these things. And listen, like I'm literally preaching to the choir, and the choir is myself, that I'm not perfect at this by any means. I surely am not in my optimal physical health, but we're working on it. Life is a journey.
It's baby steps. Baby.
One of the things that I have found at Costco is this thing called Fairlife protein shakes.
Yeah.
Or like Premier Protein or whatever. They're like a mixed thing.
Chocolate, vanilla,
chocolate
whatever you
or
want.
vanilla, whatever. And it's 30 grams of protein in that. So then you're not so famished when the bread basket comes.
Bingo.
When the dinner comes and it's just filled with like, empty calories and carbs. And then you get that high energy and then the crash.
Yeah.
That is not healthy for our bodies.
No.
So
skip dessert too. If you can skip dessert on wedding days.
Oh, hell no.
Decadent.
I'm going to eat dessert. No, just kidding. I do love a wedding dessert though, usually.
Yeah, it's tough.
You want to bring me a creme brulee? I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. Cheesecake.
Let's be honest with you.
We've done it.
We've done it. John, thank you so much. It was really nice to hear from you.
John, thanks so much.
I hope the weather
nice.
I hope the weather in Carmel is nice, and I hope that you are staying safe and healthy. I know you're quite a long way from LA, but California,
be on fire.
Yeah, it's getting hit here. So, I mean, Carmel is so beautiful. I'm so jealous. It's actually funny. I was going to wear my Carmel sweatshirt today.
Missed opportunity.
And then I thought that it was too many words. but it's like one of my favorite sweatshirts I own because I just want to go back to Carmel
Wear it next
so
week.
badly.
Wear it next week. Thank you so much for listening, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this video and episode. If you want to leave us a note, ask us a question. We're here for you. At the Shoot Your
Say
Shot
something
podcast.
mean on our comments. We actually love that. That's our favorite thing.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a dick, use your
Say it
full
with your
chest.
whole chest.
I
Don't
can't wait to
DM
see it.
us.
Yeah,
Leave it in a comment and say these people suck and we hate them.
But we love you.
Don't do it
regardless.
anonymously though.
No,
I
no,
want
no.
your name and your address so I can
Oh my
find
God.
you. No, I'm just kidding. Please leave us a review. That would be so
5
nice.
stars, please.
5 if you love us.
On
You can
Spotify,
go
Apple Podcasts, and give us a thumbs up on YouTube.
on YouTube. We would love to hear from you. And if you are going to be at
Imaging. USA.
When's this coming out, Tim? Will I be in
This is
Imaging?
coming up Monday. You'll be there?
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Next week.
The 2nd, 1st, right?
Yeah,
No,
I'm
you'll
going to
be
be
there.
there
It's the following
31st.
weekend.
Yeah, it's the following. So if you're going to be at Imaging, shoot me a little DM. You can either do that on the Shoot Your Shot podcast on Instagram or at El Coulter Photo. I'm going to be walking around with our, what's this thing called?
A telephone?
I'm going to be walking around with our telephone mic, and I'm going to be asking people some questions on the spot, like literally on the scene. Hi, what's up? And you can ask us any question. And then when I come back to Waterloo, Tim and I will answer them for you. So if you're going to be at Imaging, please
Look for
let us
Lindsay.
know. I cannot wait to see you. And thanks again, Tim, for another stellar episode. We should be doctors. Unlicensed.
Oh, God. Can only imagine the lawsuits.
Absolutely. Thank you guys all for being here. We will see you next Monday.
Mwah.